So when we are talking about simulation, there are two kind of simulation. One is steady state and one is extended period. When we are talking about steady state, it means at a particular point of time, it is simulating at a particular point of time. It is not simulating, it is not taking the effect of what happened before or what will happen after this. So it is simulating at a particular point of time. While in extended period simulation, it simulate like the system accounts for the things that has happened in the past, and like depending upon that, it will decide on the future events. So what are the applications of water distribution model? So we can plan our long range master planning. Okay. So if we are designing a system for a city, whether like suppose this is a city right now, and we gave like a pipe from like this here is the overhead tank. From here there is a pipe that is like 1 meter 1 meter diameter, and here it begins like 200. But we know that the city may develop here in this side. So in that case, like what we do, we plan and like we simulate and see like what diameter of pipe should we provide, such that even in the future there is like growth in this area, then what should be the size of the pipes. So all those simulation or all those plannings, like okay, suppose like uh, this development happens after 20 years, and like you think that okay, no, this capacity of this OHT is like small. So now what you want to do, you want to make a new OHT here and take some part of and some command area of this OHT and merge into this. In that case, like you need to simulate like okay, how much area of this command area we can take in this. So for all those, you need to have simulation. So for all those long range planning, we use this water distribution model. Also, like for fire protection, so how the system will behave when there is like a fire in a particular area. Water quality, how the water quality is changing throughout the system. Energy management. I told you about like that when we use pumps, then like okay, there is like lot of energy uses. So which pumps should be used? What kind of pipes should be used so that there is less energy loss? And daily operation, emergency responses, like suppose like here like okay, there are pipes, and this is like a looped pipe here. So what if this pipe breaks and like we have to take water from here? So all the responses we can simulate in a water distribution model, or any system troubleshooting that we can like simulate, like if there is any system like uh, what happens like okay, this was a 1 meter dia pipe, and because of like lot of incrustation, the size of the pipe has reduced and it has become 900 mm or like 700 mm. So in that case, like the flow in this pipe will get reduced. So what will happen, that all the situation we can simulate with a water distribution model. Now we'll be talking about water james. So what do we need, like whenever we want to design anything, we need to give some input data. So what are the input data that is required by a water James model? So in our talk, we told that okay, it should be centrally located. It should be located at the highest point. So how do we decide that okay, which is the highest point? Or we also talked that the level of the river is like 50, and we have to take water here. So how do we decide like okay, the level is here this much, and at this point the level is changing? So for all those, we need a topographical survey. So this is digital. This thing that you can see here. It's called DEM, Digital Elevation Model. In addition to that, where do we lay our pipe? We lay our pipe along the roads, because that is a public property. We can't like take the pipe through anyone's house. So we should know the road network too. So the road network, you get it from topographical survey. In addition to that, we are like designing the system for a city. So what is the population there? Like if we are taking the water here, suppose we are taking water here, and we see like okay, there is two houses. So we need to see like okay, what amount of water they will be using, and what if they are like there is well only two houses, maximum there will be 10 people. So we should supply water enough for 10 people. It should not be like we are like supplying water a lot that is more than like their requirement. So all this for that we need like a population data so that we can give like sufficient amount of water, allocate sufficient amount of water in each areas, and also demand pattern. So in demand pattern, what happens in the morning around 6 o'clock? Like suppose this is six. So 6 o'clock people use lot of water. Till 10 they use. In then like in the afternoon they don't use water. In the evening when they come back to office they use again water. And in the night there is like almost very less water. Here also in the night there will be very less usage of water. So how demand is changing and for what demand we should design our system. So we need to consider that too. That is from demand pattern. And we should also know the water quality. And actually this last one, bore log data, it's not very important, but you need it for structural design of pipes. Structural design is like, okay, we'll be talking about this after this. So first we saw this like topographical is here from road network, you get it from topographical data. Population data, you have to project it. So what we do, we take data from the census department. We see in the 1961 there is some population, 1971 there is some population, like that. Okay, in 2011 there is some population. So what will be the expected population in 2021? So we like project population based on different method. You must have read about all this in your book at some point of time. So like what is the thing, like we project by, there are many lot of means to project, and once we have projected we see like, okay, which one is following the trend. If this one is following the trend, then we take this one. And when we are designing a water supply system, we design it for, generally we design it for 30 years. So when we are designing it for 2021, then like we are going to build it in 2021. So it should have like sufficient capacity to cater the demand even in 2051. So generally all the water distribution system, they are made for 30 years, and we do all the population projection for 30 years. So here I was talking about, in the last slide I was talking about demand multipliers. So this is how the demand works. Like, okay, in the early hours, there is like no demand. Started from 6, there is some demand. During day, there is like less demand. During like 6, 7, 5 o'clock, there is more demand. So this is how the demand like varies. And we have to design our system based on peak thing. Like what will be the peak demand? We have to design our system based on that. This is also the same thing in which like, okay, this data is like taken based on measurement. Like we put a flow meter before a pipe, like just after the reservoir OST, and we see how the demand is varying, how much like people, like how much water consumption is there. So this was the plot. So it is almost similar to this one. And also like when we are doing a quality check, we see like, okay, what is the chlorine concentration at each node? Like if there is like a certain node where the chlorine concentration is like going below, in that case we have to see like why the chlorine concentration is getting low, and we have to provide an additional chlorine boosting pumping station there. And here it is bore log data. So in bore log it says like, okay, what kind of soil is at like what depth. So all the water supply pipelines, they are laid at below 1 meter from the ground. So below 1 meter ground, what kind of strata is there? If the hard strata there is fine. If there is like very soft strata, then we have to stabilize the strata. So for that we need borewell log. And this is how you get like a water quality report. Like generally this was given by TCE. And so this is how you get like, okay, turbidity, hydrogen ion concentration, electrical conductivity. All this data you get like calcium, magnesium, chloride, fluoride, sulfuric, nitrate, You get all this data from a water analysis test report. So now we'll be going to have a quick look into WaterGem software. Okay, first, so once you go to the start button, you have to search or WaterGem software. Like either you can search or WaterGem software's logo look like this. Like there is a water drop here. So once you click it, it will open. And at that time, let me open it. So it will open like this. It will ask you, okay, to go to a quick start lesson or create a new hydraulic model or open an existing hydraulic model. So we'll go for a create a new hydraulic model. So here it will ask you like, okay, do you want to track or not? So generally, when we are designing for the first time, we don't like put this track option because what happens when you keep on the track option, like for every edit, like it is saving some data inside the database. So what happens that there your database becomes like really big, and the size of your file will become like 2 GB, 3 GB, and it will be really hard to handle. So in the beginning, you don't check this thing, so you have to click on no. So your software will once you open, it will look like this. There is a blank screen. Okay, there's like a menu tab here. Actually, in the home tab, you can get like all the basic things are there. So this is the point of ribbon approach. In the ribbon, like the approach of providing a ribbon is that everything should be available in front of you. It's like instead of like when we used like menu bar, and in that like we have to go inside and see like okay what was there, what was there. But here like the case is different. In case of ribbons, everything is in front of you. So now, actually, like if we have to make any network, so what we do first we have to draw the network. So you can see like okay, there is a big white screen here, and we have to draw. So drawing means layout. Okay, so we need to make a layout. How can we make a layout? So here you can see either you can click from here as a layout element, or you can go here layout and click this and start. So I will start from here from the layout. Once you click, your cursor will change its shape and it will be like a cross with a circular thing. When there is circular thing, it means like a junction is selected. So for changing what you want to start with, you have to right click and it will give you like lot of options. So either you start with a junction. Junction is like the crossing of two pipes, or a hydrant or a tank or a reservoir or a pump. So whenever we start a hydraulic network, we start with a reservoir. So first we'll click reservoir. So here we put one reservoir, then it will give you like a line. Actually, this is pipe. So you can draw a pipe. So now after a reservoir, you need a junction. So you need to again right click and select junction. Suppose here like we want to place a junction. And once you have placed, now you want to end the network. So you have to click again right click and click on done. So this is the most basic network that anyone can make in a water James. Now again it is showing the cross sign. So we don't need that. So you have to press escape and again your old cursor will come. So this is the basic layout. We are done with the layout. So now what we need to do is that we said like okay we are supplying water. So the water is being supplied at a junction, like at a point. So we need to give a demand. So once you click it, double click it, like you have to go over here. Once it turns red, then double click it. It will give you a property dialog box. So in this, like, okay, there is like lot of property. So first is ID, then label. We don't need to change this all right now. Notes, GIS ID, hyperlink. You don't need to change any of these in the beginning. And X and Y, these are the coordinates. You also don't need to change this. Is active. Okay, it's active. So it is true. So when do you put it false? Like suppose if you don't want to use like some junction or some pipe, then at that time you put it as false. Then there is demand. So here we will just change the demand. Like for that, like once you click it, it will give you three dots here. Then you click it, then it will ask you for demand. So and also like it is giving like you have to give demand in liter per second. Suppose if you don't have demand in liter per second, what will you do? Like you have to click on the unit. Just click right click on the unit and it will give you unit and formatting. Click on unit and formatting. So it will give you a window like this. And just go to units and click on whatever like in units like demands, like whatever the unit of demand you have. Like I have like demand in liter per day, so I click liter per day, and the precision is 2, so it's fine. So we'll go ahead with this one. So I said that then like as per the CPHU manual, one person consumes 135 liter per day, and suppose that junction is catering the demand of two houses. So it means like 10%. Like suppose there are 5 people in each house. That is the average, 4 to 5 people. I'm supposing there are 5 people in each house. So there are total 10 people. So the total demand will be 1350 liter per day. Then it will ask you like either you want to go for a fixed or a EPS, like what kind of demand it should be there. So because like right now in this presentation, I am like focusing on steady state simulation. So we'll be like doing a fixed, like pattern should be fixed. But when you are going for extended period simulation, you have to click this and make a pattern. Once you click this, it will ask you to make a pattern. In that, you have to make a pattern. Like in the hydraulic pattern, you have to click on new and make a pattern. But we won't be doing this right now. So it is a fixed pattern. Once you are done, you have to click on the close button in the corner and close it. So I asked like, okay, we need to put input something. So the only thing that we need to input is demand for now. Or you can put also like, okay, once the demand thing is over, Fireflow, we are like not considering Fireflow as of now, operation 2. But okay, physical. So in that physical, like I need to put some elevation. So how much elevation should I put? Like suppose this is the, like placed at 50 meter. So I just put 50, enter, and I will close this one. Then I have to see like once the elevation, I have put the elevation like okay, this is the supply elevation. What should be the elevation of the source? Here, like for simplicity, I am assuming that the reservoir is at the higher elevation, and I'm putting the elevation here. Like if you double click that, the similar kind of property window open, but it has like different like properties. So, but in this, in a reservoir, the most important property is this elevation only. Others are not very important. And also see like here you can see like some properties are in black and some properties are grayed out. The properties that are grayed out that you can't change. That is the output of the system. You can change only that the properties that are looking like in black or that are active. So we need to change the elevation. So for that I'm putting like 60. Like suppose I put it 80. So once I put the elevation 80, then I will like close it. So when I was like telling in the lecture, I was also saying like I was only talking about elevation of the source and this point, like elevation of the ultimate point. So we have given the elevation at both the point. So now we can run it. So this is a very basic example. We'll change it like everything later. There are a lot of things that can be changed. It will be changing all these things later. So for running this, like once you have made the model and you have given the demand and you have given the elevation is topographical, like all the elevation we get, it is from topographical data. So once you have given the elevation, then you have to click on compute. So it will compute, and it's all green. It means that our simulation has, like, there was no error in the simulation and it ran perfectly. And now here you can see, like, okay, there is an arrow. It shows that, okay, water is being supplied from here to here. Now we need to see, like here we didn't change any property of the pipe. So even for the pipe we can change the properties. For that property, we will like double click here and we'll see like, okay, what are the property available. In general, you don't need to change anything. Like, okay, start node, stop node is there, you can't change it. So don't change anything in general. Geometry also you don't need to change. Active, okay. Failure history, like we are not doing a failure analysis, so failure history is not required. Initial status, we are assuming that it is open. So no change here. Same for operational, like we are not putting any like operational control here, so no operation. Then it comes like physical. Most of the changes that you have to do, it is in physical only. So here you can change the diameter. So in this you can make like 100 or 50. So you can change the diameter, you can change the material of the pipe, you can change the Hagen-Williams C. And like, okay, it has an option like, okay, user defined length or not. You can change this. Like if you want to define a user length, like length of pipe by yourself, you have to set it to true and you can set it. Like suppose if I take it true, you can set it. I will set it false, so it will take it automatically. So you can change the pipe size. And here, like, okay, you'll get, and then, okay, moving to that here, to result position, here you can see like flow. Right now it is showing 0. Why it is showing 0, even if my result take all went correctly, is because of precision error. So what I do, I like right click on this, I will go on unit and formatting. I will go on units and make it like liter per day and make the precision as like 4. Okay. Now see here, it is giving the flow in total. Because like last time the precision was like really small, it was showing 0. And same is in the case of velocity too. If you increase the precision right now, make it to like 6. So there is a velocity. So right now, because the size of the pipe is like more, the velocity is less. So now what I do is I change the diameter. Like right now, before it was 150, I made it like 50. Now made it like 30. Suppose like we keep it at 30. And we'll see how the velocity is changing. So we'll again run it. Goes and see the velocity has increased. This like, okay, if you decrease the size of the pipe, the velocity will increase. If you increase the size, the velocity will decrease. And the more another important term is head loss gradient. How much head loss is happening in 1 meter? So for this, the unit we keep generally is like meter per kilometer. And a general convention is that we keep the head loss gradient as 5 meter per kilometer. The head loss should not be more than 5 meter per kilometer. It can be more or less, but okay, it is a general convention. It is not written anywhere, but it is a general practice. So once you decrease the pipe size, the head loss will increase. Like suppose if I make the pipe size as 1 mm, suppose, like really small, and now let's see like what will happen. Yeah, so what's happening? See the head loss, how much head loss has become, and what is the velocity? Velocity has gone to 19 meter per second because the pipe thickness has increased. So when the pipe's thickness has increased, it means the velocity will increase, but at the same time, head loss is also increasing. So in that, when the head loss increases more, it means that at that time I have to make like OHT should be above like 600 meter or 668 meter for like if this point, if the demand is like located 1 kilometer away from here, then the OST should be at 668 meter. All these points need to be taken care of. And now I will delete this thing. Actually, in this, like, okay, in this corner, you can add a background map. So background map you can like get from the AutoCAD drawing, or you can get from GIS, or it also has a thing called Bing map. You can put a Bing map background. So I'll just put one point and like click OK. So it is showing me a Bing map. Okay, so it has taken me to some random location. So we can come to India, and so here we can like if you want to draw a network, we can draw a network and do like the analysis. So these this is the basic of water James. There are a lot of things that can be done, like fire analysis can be done, pressure zoning can be done. All those things can be done in this. So today, as it was like only a basic lecture, so I just showed you like okay, what the basic thing that you can do in water James. How to start with water James. So like once you get like this picture, like a network or a background, you can like design a water supply network for any place. But in this, like it is just giving you a background to draw. But for this also you need like elevation. So you have to put elevation manually. But also if you don't like want to put elevation manually for a very large network, it has an option to put like all the elevation automatically. So today we'll be ending our session for water James here. So we talked about this, and I also talked about what was DMA. So once you apply the water, like this is the main pipe, and we do analysis till here. From here, there is a ferrule. This is called ferrule. From this ferrule, there is a MDP pipe that goes from here, and like it goes to the household. And now I'll be talking about like after like getting this fill, what you can do. So as of now, like there are many lot of companies that like does design of water supply, sewerage, drainage, irrigation project. So every company, like if you see like any company, they have like an infrastructure sector. So there is a division for infrastructure. So in that division, there will be a water and wastewater. Either it will be like wet utilities, like every company gives like different names. Some company gives it as like wet utility. Some company give it as like water. Some company names it like water and wastewater. Every company has every infrastructure company has water and wastewater sector division, and these are name of some of the like popular companies, consulting companies. So once you have this skill, you can use it either in a consulting companies or in a contracting companies or in a contractor companies. So for designing you need like definitely nowadays no, actually it can't be done manually. It's like really hard. So you have to do it with the help of a software. And Water Games is the most user-friendly software. And almost like all this company, I know about all this company, and all of them use Water Games. And the thing is, it has like very high demand because like most, if you see like civil engineers, like most of the people go for structural engineer, and they have skills like Stat Pro, but you don't need like skill of Stat Pro like in this. If you go in a water sector, like the most important skill that you need is of water James, like or any sewer James. There is a sewer James software that is for collection of sewerage. And right now there are so many projects in India, like there are many projects in water sector that is going right now in India. Water sector, like as of now, the water sector, like total worth of project that is going right now is like 295 billion. So that is a huge amount of project that is being implemented in every city. Like if I think even like in almost every city and villages, in every city there is like water supply or not. Then if there is already a water supply, they are constructing a sewage network. If there is sewage network, they are constructing a drainage network. And this skill is also useful in irrigation. And this is like a data from 2006, like it's a relatively old data, but you can see like out of the total investment in infrastructure sector, like around 20% of the investment is in water supply and irrigation. And in, in these two sectors, like having a skill of water gems is really important. And also I was saying that like there are so many people who know like StatPro. So the demand is like constant, but the supply is more. But in this case, there is a huge demand, but there are not so many skilled people who can design. So it has like a huge potential, and it has like an option of freelancing a lot. If you want to become a freelance engineer, like either you want to go to a company, then also it's all good. If you are like also want to be a freelancer, okay, there is like lot of options. And the option of freelancer is because like there are like not so many like good engineers in this field. So this was the end of the session.